Hey everybody, hope you are doing really great. So I wanted to do this video for you today because I'm noticing a common theme uh, between people that I have conversations with, different clients that I'm working with, and that was also true for me. And as I was going through this process, I actually didn't really connect the dots until I started actually having these other conversations with other people and the experiences that they're going through. And I mean, I don't even know why I didn't see it before, but it is what it is, right? So what I'm talking about is how when we start to awaken to who we are, a higher level of consciousness, our spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, things in our life get really chaotic and nothing seems to fit. This type of awakening interrupts how we feel about our work. It affects the relationships that we have at the workplace. It affects our personal relationships with our friends. It affects how we see the world. It affects definitely romantic relationships, and that's what I'm going to be focusing in on this video today. It affects how we see ourselves, how we see our world. I said that already. It basically affects everything. And that is because once before we have been operating under old conditioning, old stories, old beliefs about who we are, how we have to show up in the world to get love, to be seen, to feel relevant, to feel love. And we adapt our behaviors so that we feel like we're getting that. But what happens during this awakening process is that whatever mechanism that we were using to be able to cope and manage with all of this stuff, usually in the form of some type of numbing, that no longer, that's not enough anymore. And by numbing can look a lot of different ways. Numbing can be excessive talking about a situation. It could be because, and this is really interesting actually, it's worth mentioning, when we do a lot of complaining about our relationship, it does two things, and it's not a bad thing at all actually. What it does is it helps to express what is going on, and it helps us to be able to process thoughts, feelings, emotions about what's going on. But if you got the right person that you're talking to about this, they're going to be able to support you and hold space for you to move you through whatever it is that is going on. The only time that it could inhibit your natural growth is when the type of support, again, no fault of anybody here at all, is that they're basically just confirming how bad you feel, which is really not helpful in helping you move forward. Okay, and so that's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It just is. It is what it is. Now, the other numbing agents that we use could be retail therapy, it could be wine therapy, it could be other alcohol therapy, it could be any type of substance drug therapy, it could be gambling, it could be anything, really, anything that is going to take away the feeling of what you're starting to feel, what is starting to bubble up to the surface. And that goes on for a while until there's a shift. Something shifts that causes you to go, I can't do this anymore. This just doesn't feel right. And so what what starts to happen is you start to look for ways to gravitate, I guess is a better word, gravitate towards personal development things, spiritual ascension type of videos, to understand what is going on. You might be drawn to more esoteric, ethereal, metaphysical type of information, just to help you feel like you're like in your own body, and that you know you're not going out of your mind and your life isn't falling apart. Your life actually is falling apart, which is actually a really good thing. Doesn't feel like it, but it's actually a really good thing. So the impact that this has on your romantic relationships is this. So where once before you would acquiesce to somebody's wants, needs, desires, you just kind of played along because you didn't want to rock the boat or ruffle any feathers, where you were, perhaps once in an addiction with somebody else. Now all of a sudden you don't really want to do that anymore. Where once before you were always overextending yourself. Now all of a sudden you realize that how that's actually making you feel, and how that just doesn't sit right with you. And so what happens through that process is that your energy starts to shift, and there's a lot of the blame game going on. If only that person would do this, or if that person didn't do so much of that, or was more like this. And so there's a lot of that finger pointing. And what I want to stress to you is you chose this partner. There was some type of energy dynamic in play that brought you two together. So it's not that that person is bad or wrong for doing what they're doing or being who they're being. It's that you are changing. Your energy is changing, and what no longer worked for you, or what was working for you, or what you were okay with originally, is now no longer okay. That's not about the other person. This is about you and your energy changing, and you wanting to come back into more of a natural, authentic flow of who you are becoming. But just know that oftentimes that tumultuous, chaotic energy starts to percolate in the relationship, and it causes a lot of disruption, it causes a lot of disharmony, maybe increase in fighting. And I know that right now there's a buzzword out there, how relationships are toxic. Not all relationships are toxic. Some relationships work beautifully for a long time, and then all of a sudden one person changes and starts to awaken to something greater within themselves, and they just have to explore that. They're being led to follow that path. And what we want ultimately is for our person to come along with us, to change and grow with us. But they might not be ready for that journey yet, and that is perfectly okay. Now, I do want to say one thing here. If this relationship is mentally, physically, emotionally abusive, that is a relationship that you need to cut off at the seams, carte blanche, leave it, and get some help and support with that. I'm not talking about those types of relationships. I'm talking about the spiritual growth type of relationships, where you're awakening to something, to more potential within yourself. So just know that this is what's happening, is that your energy is starting to shift and change, and there is an energetic exchange in our relationship. So where once things were manageable, they were okay, we had some underlying feelings about things that were never expressed. We did things that we perhaps were looking at ourselves going, oh, I'm doing that, but that's actually not like me. That doesn't feel really good. And just know that I am that person. I used to be that person too. And it's all okay. It's just that we're going through this shift and the change, and it's very, very uncomfortable. And basically what you're being called to do is to do some of your own inner work and become more in balance and harmony and peace within yourself. Let go of some old conditionings and patternings. And I want to say something about the conditioning and the patternings for people who relate to being very sensitive, being very emotional, very empathic, very, very caring, and very loving and very nurturing, and wanting to really help people. Just know that that is an inherent in you. You were born that way. Society, ancestral patterns have been handed down from generation to generation. So we learn different patterns of behavior. But inherent in your light is the light that wants to emanate out. And so what I mean by that is that when we're younger, we learn that, we're too sensitive. You shouldn't be so sensitive. Why are you so bright and cheerful and sunny all the time? And, why are you being like that? It's almost like, dumb it down, dumb it down. And so we get molded into this ways of being to get love and to be seen and to feel worthy and to what else do I say about that? I hope that so far resonates. But just know that that's actually inherent in you, and there's a real special gift that lies within an empath and the sensitive people. It is not it's not meant to sacrifice yourself. That's the wrong way of using that gift. Perhaps another video there. But what I want to say to you is that if you're in this situation, the process of letting all of that stuff come up, it is going to cause discontent in the relationship. And even if your relationship has been going pretty smooth, just, honor that part of you that is wanting a fuller expression, that is more in alignment with who you truly are and the work that you're here to do. And this is where I'm talking about your superpower. If you need help through this process, because it can be quite crazy, quite emotional, quite disruptive in your life as you try and navigate through this process. And if you need some help and support with that, go ahead, go over to my website, check out my website, see if what I say there resonates with you. Send me an email and let's see how I can support you through this process. So I hope that this video has been helpful, and until I see you on the next video, I am sending you so much love, and take good care.